Thank you for having me.
So just most important things we got to know in terms of where are we at, what do these refinery closures mean, and give us a landscape.
So the two refinery closures that everybody's been referring to really caught people's attention. And the reason being, we cannot afford to lose any more.
Lindsay Snyder, the owner and heiress of the famous In-N-Out burger chain, made headlines when she said she's packing up the fryers and heading down to Tennessee.
Like you said, there's a lot of great things about California, but raising a family is not easy here. Doing business is not easy here.
In-N-Out.
It's a Fairfield institution.
It's such a visible presence. You drive on 80, you see it every day. They got the Christmas tree up on the roof right now.
And now, nearly 50 years after opening, Budweiser is set to close its doors. Today, Anheuser-Busch confirming it will shut down 3 plants nationwide, including the Fairfield Brewery.
You ever get the feeling that everything in America is completely fucked up? You know that feeling that the whole country is like 1 inch away from saying, that's it, forget it.
Now look, here's a house full of bees. You think that means educated?
Let's get one thing straight. Guns don't kill people. I do.
So messed up. I want you here. In my room. I want you here. Now we're gonna be face to face. And I'll lay right down in my favorite place.
That's not impossible. So check out Liberty Tree Podcast.
But now I wanna be your dog. Now I wanna be your dog. And now I wanna be your dog.
I think some apologies are in order.
The Almighty Stooges.
Yes.
Not bad.
Yeah, isn't that song fucking, god damn it. Isn't that song fucking awesome?
Whole song, 3 chords.
Is it?
Yeah, never changes. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's right. We covered that song in the last band that I was in. I don't think we ever did it live, but we were working on it before.
Great song.
Before I had a baby, and that ended the band.
As most bands end this way. I just noticed that. I've heard that song probably 100 times in my life. But what's that Mexican music group that has that one maniacal note playing over and over? Yeah. Same thing.
Dude,
Stooges.
Yes. You got to love the Stooges for that like super just raw, simplified, broken down sound. I never really liked Iggy Pop's stuff.
Yeah, it was all right.
But the Stooges were undeniable, right?
Yeah.
Such a good
They were great.
band. Yeah. And probably like, when did they, kind of ahead of their time? One of those bands that
for sure.
You hear and you're like, oh, that was probably like early 90s. You're like, no, it was like 1947. You're like, what?
They're part of the MK Ultra program. A lot of people don't know.
Of course.
Yeah, they did they created a complete genre of punk rock. Still to this day, bands are doing the retro Stooges thing.
Right.
Stooges and MC5, they're totally trying to pull that off still.
Yes.
Even like dressing like them and everything. And some of those bands are really good still. We had a local band here in, I guess a couple of them were Santa Rosa guys. I know one of the guys pretty well, but they were called The Pattern.
Huh.
And they were doing like an MC5 kind of Stooges thing, and they were really good. They were amazing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that sound.
Yeah.
Hard to pull off.
Simple, just no frills, like punk rock and roll.
It's hard to pull that off because you have to have a lot of confidence that what you're doing is cool because you can't cover it up with.
Yeah.
Like, well, they're really good musicians. Like, no, they have a sound and a vibe and they're just doing that really hard, just straight ahead.
Yeah. I've always been on the fence for stuff like that because some of it I like that style I can kind of dig, but it's completely derivative of this one thing that happened back in like the late 60s or whatever it was.
Right.
And it never evolves, it never changes. So I can get into that just because I like simple rock and roll. I always thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
If someone can take 3 chords and just make it work, I think that's kind of a gift. That's way more impressive than some symphonic metal band with 8-minute songs, and an orchestra and everything. I'm like, I get it, but it's just like, it's like I'm eating too much food at one sitting here. It's like, but then like you take like rockabilly, like the whole psychobilly thing, like rockabilly and punk kind of, you had bands like the Necromantics and Tiger Army. And I was like, I don't know, it's cool, but it's just like, it never goes anywhere. Like it doesn't, like there's some of the new like hardcore kind of metal stuff, like it just changes, like it evolves like every year. Like some of the new stuff that's coming out now, I don't follow a lot of new music, but with like that genre, I dig because it like totally changes every year, and someone comes out with something different and it spawns another genre, which I think is kind of exciting to watch. Yeah, but sometimes hearing like some of the rockabilly stuff, I'm like, it's just this. It's all that getaway music. It just comes out like every year, and it sounds just like what last year did. So
they kind of pride themselves on never changing. You know, rockabilly, like the style hasn't changed since the 50s. The music doesn't change. This is just what we do.
It gets a little silly because I have had friends in rockabilly bands, and they've gotten like kind of big, and then they grew up in the Bay Area. And all of a sudden, they're talking with like a Texas twang when you talk to them. I'm like, all right, dude, like, what's going on here? It's a little strange. Yeah, they're like method musicians, I guess.
Totally. Did you have a Merry Christmas?
I had a phenomenal Christmas, actually. The Christmas Eve, I spun out a little bit just because I don't like a whole lot of stimulation and being around a lot of people. But we had dinner at one of my family's house, and I just got burnt out after a while. I was also a sober driver, so and it's just like my wife wanted to watch the Christmas lights at the end of the night, and I still got to wrap presents, so I want to kind of get home at like a decent time. And she goes, right after dessert, we'll leave. But what happened was right after dessert, they started playing board games, just sitting on the couch,
and it was Risk. Which takes 8 hours.
And it was Monopoly. So, yeah.
Did you watch any Christmas movies over the break?
Yeah, my son always puts them on. So Christmas Vacation's a staple in our house. Christmas Story.
Yep.
Home Alone.
Good.
Home Alone is like pretty decent.
Yeah.
Christmas Vacation always gets a few laughs. Like, Christmas Story never gets old. It's just, it's so good. And like the actors, especially the dad in that.
Yeah.
I was like, that guy's such a great actor.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, I went ahead and ranked the top 10 Christmas movies of all time.
Awesome.
For you. Probably should have done this before Christmas, but just file this away for next year.
Okay.
Are you ready for my list?
Yep.
Coming in at number 10, we have Charlie Brown Christmas.
Classic.
By the way, the honorable mention to Love Actually. I actually really like that movie, although I didn't watch it.
Or as my mom calls it, Love Actually.
Actually. Number 9, Home Alone 2.
Ooh, going with a sequel.
Yes.
We had a merch guy who was like a movie buff, and we were talking about Major League.
Yeah.
He goes, Major League 2 is so much better. I was just like,
what?
What are you talking about? He goes, it's got better character development. I was like, there's no character development in Major League.
It's like saying Short Circuit 2 is better than the original.
But it fucking worked because I thought about it for months. I was like, character development in Major League? Like, I gotta rewatch the sequel.
All right, number 8. I don't think you're expecting this one. The Ref.
I don't know that one.
Dennis Leary?
No.
He's he's a criminal and he breaks in to this people's house. You haven't seen that?
No.
Dude, fucking great movie. He breaks into this couple's house and they are going through like they're having a lot of trouble in their relationship and they're like fighting.
Yeah.
And so he ends up like kind of kidnapping both of them or just tying them up inside the house.
Yeah.
And they're so like they hate each other so much that it starts driving him crazy, and he ends up kind of like reffing their divorce as he's inside the house.
Great premise for a movie.
It was a really good movie. Yeah. Number 7, Scrooged, Bill Murray.
Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 6, Lethal Weapon.
The original?
Yes.
Christmas.
Yep.
I'm not recalling a Christmas scene in that.
Takes place during Christmas.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which brings up an interesting point. So, what makes a movie a Christmas movie? It takes place during Christmas. So really, like by all accounts,
you haven't mentioned Die Hard yet.
I haven't. Let's see. Is it on the list? Number 5, Gremlins.
Oh. Remember that great scene in Gremlins when she tells a story about her dad getting stuck? It's like the most sick, dark Christmas story ever. They started smelling his corpse coming from the chimney. Her dad got stuck in the chimney.
Yes.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Totally.
Oh, I wouldn't have thought of that one. That's good.
Number 4, Die Hard.
Very good.
It's on the list.
Has to be on there.
Qualifies for the same reason Lethal Weapon qualified. And number 3, I got Home Alone.
Yeah.
It's a great Christmas movie.
It is a great Christmas movie.
It's a great movie. The injuries that happen in that movie are horrific. Mm-hmm. Most of them would send you to the hospital with like major problems.
Yeah.
And this happens over and over and over to these crooks. Home Alone 2, the injuries are even worse.
I don't know if I've ever seen Home Alone 2.
It's like there's a scene in Home Alone 2 where what's the name of the bad guy who looks like Buzz?
Daniel Stern.
Yeah.
I don't know his character.
Harry is Joe Pesci's character.
Marv?
Maybe, yeah, Marv.
Yeah, Marv.
Marv gets electrocuted by Macaulay Culkin, and it's like for a long time, and they show like an X-ray, like you just see his skeleton, like and it's things like that. Like it took all of the injuries from Home Alone, the first one, and just like ramped them up. Like we're talking about murder, essentially in every single case.
There's money to be made.
Number 2, I put Christmas Vacation.
Yeah, it has to be on there.
And like you, I put Christmas Story at number 1.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, I think it is the best one.
That's a solid list.
Thanks, dude.
I like that.
That is the list. It's hard for anyone in the world to ever argue with that.
I had the most elongated, surreal, bizarre dream the other night because I'm a vivid dreamer. And it's usually, I have a lot of like horror dreams. Mm-hmm. The best one I ever had.
Horror. For those that couldn't hear.
Yes. With an H.
Yes.
The best one I ever had was at our old house. Remember our living room looked over to the front yard? Mm-hmm. And the dream was, and I thought it's like one of those where I think I'm awake because I'm going through like some mundane task. I got my coffee and I walked out to the living room and just stared at the front yard, which I would do every morning before work. I was like, something's like different here. And I noticed like patches on the lawn were kind of like moving. Mm. And then one by one, like 25, 30 different kind of like foxhole, like grass covered flaps opened up. And it was a bunch of monkeys with AR-15s.
Oh, shit.
With these giant grins on their face. And they're getting ready to attack.
Wow.
Yeah, I woke up sweating and screaming. Like, first 5 seconds of just complete, utter terror. But by the time you come to, you're like, okay, that's not going on. You're like, that was awesome.
Totally. That is a good one.
I had this dream the other night that, because we go camping a lot during the summer. We go in big groups, right? And we went out in this group, and it was the girl I dated in the 7th grade. And so we're all like setting up camp and everything. And she goes, hey, I need you to drive me home. I got to work in the morning. I'm like, what time do you have to work? She goes, 6. I was like, 6? That means I got to get up at 4 and break down camp. I'm like, I don't think we can do that because I'm going to wake up everyone around us, and that's totally disrespectful. And you need to find like a ride back. And she kind of gave me this look in the dream, and I said, I was thinking in my mind, I'm all, we're not still together. There's no way we can still be together. She's from 7th grade. And I was like, yeah, we can't pull that off. And she was just kind of silent and walked off. I'm like, I think I'm off the hook. And the whole dream was me like setting up the tent and the kitchen and parking the trailer. The whole time looking at her in my mind, trying to go like, are we still together? We can't still be together. Because like,
but you don't want to ask.
Yeah, if we're still together, like if I ask and we're still together, like that's bad.
Right.
I was like, if we're not still together, I'm off the hook. I'm not driving anywhere. I'm like, but there's no way we can still be together at this age. So I just woke up covered in
stressful
sweat.
dream.
It was all night. I woke up, I was like, oh my God. I told my wife, like, you won't believe this dream that I had.
Wow. All right, so I got some good news to share with you before we get anything too deep.
Good.
You'll recall last episode we were talking about the Caltrans situation.
Yes.
Right? And so I made that post on Instagram that was about them widening the freeway in order to make traffic flow better.
Yeah.
And then following that up with reducing or increasing the number of hours that you could not drive in the carpool lane, which to anyone...
Spending 20 years to widen a freeway, and as soon as they're done...
Yeah, saying you can't drive on it.
Yes.
So somebody commented on that. I got to read this. This is from M.A.I.D 451. I could not agree more. So check this out. I'm pretty sure most of Europe and who knows how many countries on the planet have an enforceable passive lane. This means that the behavior modification is that people should drive consciously about their speed and what lane they're in. Otherwise, they will be the ones filling the quotas for ticketing. So what that means basically is that most of the world, they have a passing lane and they enforce that strictly.
Yep.
So slower traffic must move over. In fact, a friend of mine in high school said that his dad got a ticket one time for allowing someone to pass him on the right.
Oh, really?
On the freeway.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was in the United States because his dad was overseas in the military, so maybe it was in another country, but this does happen where like you get a ticket for being too slow in the fast lane. So he's saying most of the rest of the world does that.
I'm not pro ticket, but I'm pro that ticket for sure.
Yeah. I'm definitely pro consequence. What's a better switcheroo than that, he says. And I've done a little research on this. Essentially, there's nothing concrete that is superior for traffic or the environment about an HOV lane. It is inefficient, allows people to drive like inefficient drones, clogging up lanes, has people sitting and polluting when traffic could be moving more quickly, and is also, by the way, something that every taxpayer pays for, and for those who have to commute during HOV hours is not technically allowed to use almost all the time that they'll be driving by it. Eliminate the HOV lane. How can we organize? So this dude was stoked that we made that video, and come to find out, Caltrans is now actually reversing the HOV lanes. They're going to actually put the hours back.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny because if you... Sorry about that. I got to figure out why it's doing that. If you listen to Caltrans and their like explanation for their rationale for why they do the HOV lanes, it doesn't sound like that's something that they would be able to do to reverse course. So check out this this video here. There's a guy here that'll from Caltrans.
Highway 101 is a lifeline in the North Bay with tens of thousands of people commuting between Marin and Sonoma counties.
And they're doing it a lot more slowly now that Caltrans expanded carpool hours, massively slowing down traffic. Dial in reports on a situation commuters said was working fine.
I will paraphrase for you.
Some North Bay drivers say the expanded carpool lane hours are horrendous, doubling their commute times. Now there's a Change.org petition demanding Caltrans to reverse course. Caltrans says the new hours bring the North Bay in line with the rest of the Bay Area.
This is a big change, and Caltrans doesn't take it lightly. We're doing this to improve safety in the Bay Area.
Katie started a petition on Change.org. As of Sunday afternoon, nearly 5,000 people had signed, with hundreds sharing stories and frustrations on the site.
Cars sitting on the freeway, trucks sitting on the freeway, just wasting gas, putting more emissions into the atmosphere. That's the polar opposite of what they're claiming it's going to do.
Caltrans spokesman Vince Giacala says they consulted with other North Bay transportation agencies before making the switch.
Caltrans and the different agencies, we're going to take a look at that. We'll hear you very loudly. We're going to take a look at that. And the traffic engineer is going to take a look at the analysis, whatever time it takes, and then we'll decide.
Caltrans says reversing course would take time and a careful study.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, you don't need to study it. You don't need to spend millions of dollars. You just go up to those signs and you peel the fucking sticker off, or you put a new sticker over it, whichever is easier, right? You just put the new sticker over it with the correct hours on it.
Don't create the industrial complex for this specific issue. It's very easily handled. There's a very pragmatic and simple way to solve this problem.
Exactly. So I was thinking about it, like, what is Caltrans' whole reason for existing? It's to slow down traffic.
I was going to say unfunded pension liabilities, but
okay, that too. But everything they do is about driving slower.
Yeah.
And this is the group of people we have in charge of making it so that we can actually get somewhere faster.
Right.
Everybody wants to get to their destination as efficiently as possible. But the group who's in charge of that, all they do is slow things down.
Yeah.
On their website, all of the shit that they talk about and all the posts that they make are all about safety and driving slower, slow down,
cone zone.
Yes, exactly.
My dad works here.
Exactly. That whole campaign that they have. And then look at how long it took them to widen this section of freeway that we had.
It's been over 20 years,
right? So they're all about just being slow.
Yeah.
And if you think about a
no bid contract,
you think about like a free market approach to traffic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it wouldn't involve things being slow ever. The whole thing that you're trying to sell is things being fast.
Yeah.
Get from A to B as quickly as possible.
Right.
The University of Colorado, there's these two economists who studied this problem. And they actually found in their study that HOV lanes attract more people to the freeway than they repel.
Yeah.
Because what Caltrans will tell you from their centralized position, centralized control of the freeways, is that, well, HOV lanes make fewer cars because two people that would have been driving solo one of them's gonna leave their car at home, they're gonna jump in the car with their friend and drive together.
Which always happens.
Yeah. I mean, there are instances where that could happen, right? But what they don't account for is that when you make this like special lane that only special people can drive in, two people that were taking the bus now are incentivized to share a car between them because the bus takes forever.
Yeah.
Like, let's just share a car. We'll be able to go in the carpool lane.
Same freeway with all the traffic.
They're going to be able to get there 3 times faster than they would have on the bus. Yeah. So it actually draws more people to the freeway.
I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And then, like, the guy on Instagram was saying, like, the people who actually commute, who use the freeway the most, they're not carpooling. They can't. It's just totally inefficient.
Yeah, driving traffic and look around. It's all one person, one car, everywhere, as far as you look.
And you can't change people's behavior.
No.
So if you were a free market approach, if you were getting people from A to B faster, you would think of all sorts of different ideas of how to do that. The one that wouldn't come up is this one that's been tried and fails.
Yeah.
Which is the HOV lane. Think about that. We're going to take 3 lanes of traffic. We're going to reduce that really just to 2 lanes. So now there's 50% more people in each lane of the 2 lanes. And then we're going to have like this special lane for a few people that they can use.
Yeah.
Think about how dumb that is. Like, that's going to actually improve traffic conditions. It's retarded. And it does nothing for the environment because you're now getting all these cars to drive from like their house to 20 or 30 miles away in second gear the whole way.
Yeah.
They never get out of second gear.
And constantly hitting their brakes. So if you look at pollution studies of what cars are, most of it is tire wear and brakes are the two biggest causes of car pollution. I don't want to get into the electric car thing like that I got into with my brother, and he screamed at me over the phone. I was like, but if your car's constantly idling and you're constantly hitting the brakes, that's the biggest contributor to auto pollution.
Totally.
So if this is all being done to create a better environment, I'm like, you guys are clearly going the wrong direction here.
It's such a great little snapshot of why centralized control fails over and over again.
Again.
Another one.
Yes.
Right? It's just like, here's this stupid idea. We're going to force everyone into it. We're going to widen the freeway and then make it even worse for you. I also looked into traffic deaths. Do you know where most traffic deaths happen?
Within a mile of your house, I was taught in driver's ed.
Most accidents happen within a mile of your house, but you're not going very fast in those situations.
Yeah, which is kind of a bullshit statistic because they say, most shark attacks happen in 5 feet of water. I'm like, yeah, because that's where the people are.
People don't go deeper than that.
Most accidents happen a mile from your house. I'm like, yeah, because that's where you are the most driving.
Exactly. It is a bullshit statistic, but most deaths happen on rural roads.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And they happen at intersections typically, or driveways people pull out onto, because you go pretty fast on rural roads.
Yeah,
because you can see forever. It's safer when you can see and you're not distracted, and you don't have to drive slower, right? So obviously that's where people die, but people don't die on freeways.
Interesting.
Very rare that people die on freeways. But
Especially
Caltrans,
in California, because you're going 5 miles an hour.
Caltrans controls the freeways. Yeah, exactly. And they want to slow everyone down as a safety thing, but there is no issue with safety.
Yeah.
Unless your airbag goes off and kills you because this exploding bag hits you in the face.
This is the problem that we have with Pete Buttigieg. Came out as transportation secretary saying, like, our goal is zero traffic deaths. I'm like, that's easy to do. Just make a speed limit of 5 miles an hour. Who wants to live like that? Show of hands, like real quick. We've talked about this all the time, but with whatever you do, you have a spectrum, you have security, and you have liberty on the other end, and it just toggles back and forth. That's easy. We can have complete security. We can double down on the Patriot Act, for example, and you get rid of terrorism. I was like, but you're under complete surveillance. You have no personal autonomy or liberty. Like, it's easy to do.
Totally.
It's easy to do the other thing too, like full anarchy. Everyone do what you want. You know what I mean? And you got to find like that sweet spot. I always err on the side of, I think, liberty and freedom, hence the free driving movement, which I had someone, I was pulling out of Home Depot this morning. I stopped at a light, and after a while, I was going to turn left. I was like, this light's clearly not working. I was like, I'm just going to go. And I went, and the person behind me got the honk.
Yes.
I was like, getting the thumbs up.
Yeah.
Like,
good little rule follower. Yeah, you could end all traffic deaths by just making everyone's car only go 10 miles an hour. I think that if you gave everyone in America the option between total...
You had to pick the extreme of each end.
The extreme of each end. Total anarchy or total centralized control, that a vast majority would choose anarchy. Because even our friends who argue with us over whether anarchy is a good idea or not, they would admit that if they had to choose between the 10-mile-an-hour speed limit or no speed limit at all, they're going to choose the no speed limit.
Did you get that shirt for Christmas?
No.
That's nice. I like it.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I love it. I've been wearing it for like 4 days.
I got my new shirt for Christmas too. I've been wearing it every day. Only based on the premise that everywhere I go, my buddy goes like, new shirt? I'm like, hell yeah.
Totally.
Better wear this tomorrow. I'm digging the compliments. So shout out listener Gabe, who you know from our gym. We've been having this running kind of started kind of unofficially, but who can find the best headline? So here's the one I sent him today. This is from The Independent. This is real. How climate change is hitting vulnerable Indonesian trans sex workers.
Ah, yes. The plight of the trans sex worker in Indonesia.
Yeah.
The most Muslim country in the world, I believe.
Yeah. Highest concentration of Muslims in the world. I'm sure USAID is tackling this as we speak.
Yes.
He writes back, and I raise you, queer fight clubs are Bay Area's newest nightlife trend. Here's what to know. It's like, oh, well played, sir.
Wow,
well played. I still think mine's a little better, but it's close.
Yeah, yours is. Anytime you can bring a country like Indonesia into your headline,
and climate change. It's got the trans issue. I was like, I got
checked a lot of boxes.
Multiple branches coming off this trunk.
Totally.
Like, yours is it's good. It's good. It's pretty straightforward though, and it's like I can see, the gays starting fight clubs. It kind of makes sense. So, but still, great headline. So, do you remember I made a prediction, not on the podcast, but we were hanging out in my kitchen and we were talking about my prediction about the flu. I was like, I think we're going to get nailed by, there's going to be like a crazy flu this year.
Yes.
Okay.
And you sent me that article that was about, what was it called? Like the
Super Clade K.
Clade.
Yeah. And then we did an episode on Clade X, which was a tabletop.
Clade X for pets.
Which was a tabletop simulation in 2018 at Johns Hopkins. This was like very similar to the one, Event 201, which happened in 2019, which almost perfectly mirrored what happened with COVID. You switch out a few of the epicenters in different countries of where it happened, the name of the disease. But these tabletop exercises are run almost exclusively through Johns Hopkins University.
Right.
But it's got the same kind of running cast of characters that are on the boards, a lot like Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, WEF, a lot of the same people that coming into these kind of situations. So it's going to sound like I'm skipping around here a little bit, but I started looking into the M.A.I.D programs in California. Yeah, how familiar, or Canada?
M.A.I.D?
Freudian slip, yeah. The medical assistance in dying.
Oh, right.
In Canada. So what's your familiarity with this?
That in Canada, you can, not only are you allowed to end your life for pretty much any reason, including just having a bad day, but the government is actually encouraging people to choose this option of ending their own life.
Yeah. So I said California, which was a bit of a Freudian slip, which I'll pay off here in a second. So we were hearing the amount of people that were choosing the M.A.I.D program basically to be euthanized by your own government. And I heard like 10,000, I heard, 8,000, I heard, 20,000. So in 2023, approximately 15,300 people chose this option.
In 1 year.
This option, yeah. And then 2025, they broke their record. They hit like 16,000 something. To this date, since the program started, they've put down about 76,000 people.
Wow.
Through the M.A.I.D program.
In how many years? Like 4 years?
4 or 5.
Wow.
Yeah. It kind of, so the reason that I bring this up though, like with anything, you think of the Patriot Act, for example, is the M.A.I.D program is rolled out for your own good, right? These people, we have these very strict kind of requirements. I was like, yes, but the reason why we kind of bring this up, I get it, man. Someone's dying of a terminal illness. Like they want to have a dignified death. Like that makes sense. I was like, however, we have just kind of jumped a threshold right here. I was like, where does it go from here? There. Now.
Yeah.
And they start rolling back the requirements because it was like you have to have a terminal illness and only 6 months to live. And you have to be over 18 and you have to be of sound mind to make this decision.
Right.
But once that decision is made, once the program is enacted, then we start rolling back the requirements.
Don't they allow children to be euthanized in Canada?
I have looked this up. I've seen differing stats on that. So, and I think that we're getting into kind of the slippery slope argument too, which is where it's really hard to find like real information on this. But I think the people that sound the alarm bells when they see stuff like this, I'm like, yeah, that's kind of the point of this is like, it's just like the Patriot Act. It doesn't just, I know you're saying this is for our own good. We're going to try to fight terrorism. I was like, but you guys just made these decisions about like surveillance and warrantless wiretaps and illegal detainments. I'm like, now it's kind of game on for you guys, which should be terrifying to everyone. And the more I was like looking into this is What do they do with the bodies in Canada once that they euthanize them and put them down?
They probably use them for medical research.
Organ donation.
Yeah.
So they harvest the organs.
Right. And they probably make money on that.
Yeah, which is called the ODE, the organ donation after euthanization. Canada's a leader in ODE right now in, in the entire world.
They're
And so
literally harvesting the people that live there.
And so you go like, okay, now we have the people making this decision or helping guide someone, just like the sex assignment, you know, the sex assignment surgeries done on children in America. I was like, well, you see how much money? It's like an industrial complex at this point.
Yeah.
Same thing with the ODE. It's like there's so much money to be made, you know, harvesting this person's organs. Like, you think there might be a motivation to kind of talk this person into it? Because now it goes from like this person has a terminal illness. It's like maybe they're just kind of depressed, like, no problem, like shove them through, because you have an incentive to get this person to be euthanized by their own government, which is really fucking sick.
So dark.
And so I looked into it anymore, and when I was reading about it with Canada, I'm like, well, Canada's lost. It's like England and Ireland. I'm like, they're just a lost country. They're done. They're not what we thought it was anymore, and just fucking get used to it. Do you know the M.A.I.D program is run in the U.S.?
No.
Yes. It's legal in 12 states.
Really?
That's why I said California.
California
by accident.
one of them?
California, Washington, Oregon, the District of Columbia, New Jersey. And then I started looking up the M.A.I.D requirements. And like when you look this up.
Made in America.
So Oregon, year legalized, 1997.
I remember hearing that. Because it was...
I don't remember this at all.
Remember Dr. Kevorkian?
Yes.
Yeah, that was like around 97 when he was in the news.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Key requirements, terminal illness, prognosis of 6 months or less. Okay. Washington, 2008, similar requirements as Oregon. Vermont, 2013, terminal illness, capable adult. You go down. And then some of these started to kind of stick out to me. So Colorado, 2016, terminal illness, mental capacity, or voluntary request. New Jersey, same thing, voluntary request. So you just have to walk in and go like, I'm done.
Yeah, you have a 10-day waiting period to buy a gun, but you can just end your life walking into a
I wonder
doctor's
if you have to
office.
show your ID to be euthanized by your government. Really makes
I'll bet you don't.
That is the most racist shit ever. You got to show your ID to get into the ODE program, to get euthanized by your government and have your organs harvested. How dare you bring that up? So as I'm looking into the M.A.I.D program, and then I started thinking about my flu prediction. Now, we did an episode on this like 2 years ago about Clade X. Do you remember this at all?
No, I don't remember doing it. 'Cause when you sent that to me, I was racking my brain trying to think, what was the Clade X episode?
So Clade X, and I revisited this. I was like, I got to brush up on that because I know I brought this up before.
Dude, I got to say, hold on, before we go there, the state of California, what were the requirements in California, by the way?
California doesn't have the...
They don't post their requirements?
I don't think they have voluntary. California, terminal illness must follow specific legal process, which...
That could mean anything.
Yeah. And they enacted it in 2016.
I guess Gavin Newsom is now on the hook for $76 billion in fraud.
Yeah, $4 billion of missing SNAP benefits, $18 billion missing from the bullet train, not a single piece of track laid yet. I think like 40-something billion for COVID, like PPE loans and missing money there.
$23 billion for the homelessness.
23 billion, 24 billion for the, just money where they just went like, we don't know where it went.
And speaking of the transportation secretary, Trump's transportation secretary is now telling Newsom that they're cut off.
They pulled off the federal funding for the bullet train,
right?
Also known as the regular speed train, that technology of the 1800s.
He was talking in his press conference about like, we built the Golden Gate Bridge in like 4 years.
Yeah.
We built, whatever.
Hoover Dam.
Hoover Dam.
5 years.
It's been 20 years.
20 years.
Not a single
Over $18 billion and nothing to show for it.
Not a single mile of track. Not one track has been laid.
Yeah. So to go back to the flu prediction and this CLADEX. So CLADEX was an exercise in 2018 at Johns Hopkins. And in attendance were all the kind of the usual people. A lot of the names I totally recognize. Some of them I researched. I'm like, oh, okay, I remember this person. They were part of. It's like a bunch of those same ones that we follow, like Crimson Contagion and Dark Winter and Atlantic Storm and all this stuff. They're all like tabletop exercises in Event 201. And we go there. And so when you bring it up to people and they say like, well, these are just hypothetical exercises to get, institutions and governments ready in case this thing happens. I was like, fair enough. Makes sense. I was like, but when they do something like Event 201 and a year later, that thing comes true, like, yeah, I got some questions here.
Right.
You know what I mean? Event 201 being a novel respiratory coronavirus that takes over the world and we have to lock down and immediately fight disinformation online. Well, that's exactly what happened with this hypothetical tabletop exercise was.
Think of the number of just mere coincidences that we're expected to just take.
Yeah.
Every single day.
Like you're asking the question that I want to get to, actually.
Like everything is just a coincidence.
Yeah.
Yep. Nothing. Jeffrey Epstein, well, just coincidence that 25 really rare occurrences all just happened to happen on the same minute that this guy killed himself.
I swear to God, we are sharing one brain at this point. So I looked into CLADEX, and you can find, they videotaped the entire conference. It's on YouTube. You can look up CLADEX. It was a couple days long. They condensed it down to 6 hours, and they break it up. They do a section based on a hypothetical timeline. So it's like, here's when we first found out about the virus, this pathogen, this novel respiratory pathogen that's super deadly and super contagious. And then they break for lunch. They come back like, okay, now we're at 2 weeks later. And so they're simulating the exercise then. Like now we're at 6 months later. Now we're at a year. And that's how, if you can watch this on YouTube, it's pretty wild. So I was looking at the people in attendance. Like one is like InQtel, which is the venture capital arm of the CIA. I'm like, all right, let's keep a look at this. I found one like kind of interesting attendee, which was Tom Daschle. Do you remember him?
Name's familiar.
Yeah, Tom Daschle was a congressman. He was a senator from South Dakota, I believe. And he was the one guy who was going to vote against the Patriot Act. He's like, I don't feel good about this. This is like an infringement on civil liberties and people's privacy. And at that time, I don't know if people remember this, but this was before Saddam had WMDs.
Yeah.
Is the original selling point was that Saddam was developing biological weapons programs, anthrax, and he could start sending that anthrax to high up U.S. politicians and cripple the country. Now, he was set to vote against the Patriot Act. And then he got anthrax mailed to his office. Do you remember this, the anthrax scare?
Yeah.
It only lasted for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And so Tom Daschle was like, holy shit, maybe they're right. Like, maybe I do need to vote for the Patriot Act.
Of course.
Until they traced the spores back, the anthrax spores back to Fort Detrick, Maryland. And then the messaging became, well, it was this one totally lone wolf scientist who vehemently denied it the entire time.
Right.
Until
he killed himself.
Yes. And then Tom Daschle goes like, yeah, I'll vote for the Patriot Act.
It's fine.
Not a problem. So when you look at Event 201, Dark Winter, which was also Johns Hopkins, which simulated an anthrax attack being mailed to U.S. senators, which is, I'm sure, total coincidence. Total coincidence.
Just a twinkie-dink.
So this is from the CLADEX, which is a highly deadly and contagious respiratory pathogen that can spread from person to person and believed to originally mutate from animals or to humans, say like chickens.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know how many things start to kind of bubble up as to what actually happened. Now, this is good because I had to do a little bit of digging for this. This tabletop exercise hypothetically plays out that it will originate in a country that is economically devastated, is politically fractured, and has a crumbling infrastructure. Hence, the U.S. would need to go into that country to get things in order, like first thing they would do is do a complete travel ban of anyone flying in and out of that country, because this country needs our help. Can you think of a country in the news right now?
Venezuela?
Yeah. This hypothetical exercise takes place in Venezuela.
Does it?
Caracas, Venezuela.
Stop it.
Yes. So here's the official, it goes deeper.
Wow.
So the official, because clade is not a thing that we know of. Like, it's an odd word.
I had to look up the definition to see what it meant. Which, you want me to read it to you?
I got it right here.
Okay.
Group of organisms that consists of a common ancestor and all its lineal descendants representing a single branch on the tree of life. Big deal. Thank you, Jake. But then you trace that back. Who made this part of the kind of the vernacular? Like, why do we know this word? This goes back to, this was being used in the Committee of 300 by Julian Huxley back to 1957. I don't know if you remember Julian Huxley, but avowed eugenicist that held strong in belief that there's too many people on the planet and we need to get this population down. Now, when people talk about eugenics, which this guy was an avowed eugenicist, they skip over. I'm like, when you read his writings and how he worked with the British Round Table to subjugate Africa and everything, I'm like, he's not just saying like an overall reduction in population. It's depopulation of certain kinds of people, if you kind of catch my drift there. And then it gets even more interesting because, with all things getting connected, you looked up Julian Huxley, who was the brother of Aldous Huxley. We know him because
he wrote Brave New World, right?
Right. Yeah. And then you start looking at Aldous Huxley and his children. It's just funny. I love it. Like, you look into stuff, you're like, dude, it's all the same shit. It's like all connected stuff. They were working with Julian Huxley before he wrote Brave New World, and The Doors of Perception was working with a guy named Dr. Humphrey Osmond. And they were in Connecticut. This was like summer of 1955. And they were getting this Dr. Humphrey guy Osmond was blasting their minds with LSD to study the effects on the human psyche. I'm like, that can only be one thing. So then you look up Dr. Humphrey Osmond was hand-selected by Allen Dulles from the CIA for the MK Ultra programs. I was like, dude, can we connect any more than this?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So basically, Aldous Huxley was part of the original MK Ultra programs, and this gave him the kind of foresight to write Brave New World and The Doors of Perception, which gave the band The Doors, their name, Jim Morrison, whose dad worked for military intelligence in Laurel Canyon, running Cold War PSYOP operations for the CIA there, which produced Charles Manson and their murder spree, who also was part of the MK Ultra programs. Like, dude, I love this stuff. My wife asked me, like, why don't you watch sports? I was like, I got it. This is my sports, which I want to talk about sports later too.
Good.
So this is according to Clade X. It's eventually discovered this deadly pathogen. Let me know how much of this sounds familiar. The deadly pathogen was created by a terrorist group whose stated goal was to depopulation, quote, to bring the world population down to pre-industrialized levels, which is exactly what the Club of Rome, the Committee of 300, which the Huxleys belong to, said. That's their stated goal. There's too many people in the world, and we need to get this population down.
Yeah.
So that's like the whole circle kind of completes. Okay. Now, we predicted like a super flu. I did. I won't put you on the hook of this. And I want to talk about
Speaking of predictions, by the way, we're almost out of 2025.
The Deagel?
Deagel
We're going to talk about Deagel, too.
All right. So far, no, Deagel has not come true. And there's a few days left, but.
So this is from MSNBC. This is a recent article. A fast-moving superflu variant is driving a sharp rise in cases, raising fresh questions about how well this season's vaccine will hold. Health officials say that subclade K is a branch of influenza A H3N2 and is now circulating widely in the U.S. and overseas, emerging too late to be included in this season's vaccine. Okay, do you recall our conversation about the flu? Because you asked me, like, why do you think that? Like, why do you think we get
why
the flu?
do we have a flu season?
Yeah, and we got to, like, into it, like, a from the hip kind of discussion about the flu. we started talking about the flu shot and stuff like that. What's your recollection of how that conversation went?
I don't recall, to be honest with you. I think I said I thought it was because people were.
I'm not trying to get you to recall something. I'm just trying to kind of set the table here.
Yeah. So
well, we're talking about like why do people get the flu? And we were. I don't have the answer. You don't either.
Yeah.
We were just like, well,
we were speculating.
Maybe more people are cooped up indoors. Probably has something to do with it.
Less vitamin D.
Less vitamin D. No one's out in the sun. More germs, just kind of be a lot of holiday gatherings, so like more bugs being
more moist,
passing forth.
Out, I think.
That's such a terrible word. But I thought it was when I see these articles from mainstream media, the one thing that whether we're talking about a super flu or strokes or the rise in heart attacks or pericarditis or myocarditis or turbo cancer, galloping cancer, if you happen to be dating Lee Harvey Oswald, we can talk about that. There's one thing they never parse out with these articles, which is
it's that we don't know what causes it.
We just know it's not that one
thing.
That one thing. Yes, exactly. And it's so consistent that I'm hard pressed to think that it's not intentional. And I think that's what you get. That's what you deserve if your gatekeepers of information are going to be the people whose 60 to 70% of ad revenue comes from pharmaceutical companies. There is no way, you know what I mean? And we've talked about this before, like no one's watching the Super Bowl and this random drug for this super obscure disease comes up. Like they're not hoping to hit that 0.05% of people that have moderate to extreme psoriasis. Is what they're doing is laying the groundwork of like, if all this shit goes sideways, you are not running a news segment or an article that says anything bad about us.
Right.
Which everything's bad about them, as it turns out. Remember we talked about Ozempic?
Yeah.
Now Ozempic is being linked to thyroid cancer.
Really?
Increase in thyroid cancers. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Already? Jesus.
And I remember talking to a doctor. I was in there with my son, totally unrelated, but I had mentioned Ozempic. I had made some crack about it.
Mm-hmm.
She just looks at me over her glasses and goes like, no. I'm like, what do you know? She goes, that's not why we're here today. It's like, but a lot of it comes down to this intuitive kind of skepticism that I think is healthy and that we should have. It's like, we all know, okay, so just like my truck, right? I almost got away with not paying for it.
Yep.
I mean, I might have got busted, and then it only took me 2 to 3 minutes. I'm like, I don't want to be in that situation, right? I don't want to think about it. I want to go to work, earn money, and pay for the thing that I own. Like, I don't want this on my soul, even if I pulled it off. Like, I don't want that on me. And it's like, why? I was like, I just intuitively know it's not the right thing to do.
I know people who would definitely...
They would be posting on Facebook about it.
They would be in the zone if that was the case. Like, sweet, another scam. Finally getting one over on someone.
I also know intuitively, there's a saying, there's no free ride in biology, right? Is that if you don't eat right, you're going to turn into a fat pile of shit. And when they come out with a pill, like, we can take care of that. Just take this pill. I'm like, no, that's the terrible idea. Like, that's terrible. They have a new pill now. They can give you the benefits of working out without working out.
Right.
And you go like, what? Like, no. Like, who would put that in their body?
Yeah, if you think about it, like with Ozempic.
Put the side effects aside.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like with Ozempic, it's like, okay, you can afford to just eat like total shit. And this pill that you take isn't going to make the food you eat turn healthy for you, right? You're still taking in garbage.
Yeah.
And then it's going to get rid of these certain side effects of just putting on weight.
Yeah.
Right? But where does that go? You're still, not only are you putting in garbage into your system, but you're also putting in this pill that's messing with your body's natural reaction to all that garbage.
Yeah.
Like, that's so much worse. You should just be fat. It's ironic that you're healthier. You're probably healthier just being fat. than taking Ozempic on top of that.
And you got to think about what that does to you mentally, because when you exercise and you eat right, you're going like, I'm doing the work. Yes, it would be more pleasurable to go to In-N-Out Burger every day for lunch. That would be great. It tastes great. I was like, but it's not good for you. And that's why it tastes so good. It's like they're surpassing this nutrition kind of base thing that your body knows that it needs. I was like, well, if you can just take a pill, you know what I mean? We can alleviate that entire system. You're like, okay, what's that doing to your mind though? You know what I mean? You're building like a mental discipline, a mental toughness that you're proud of. Same thing with going to work and earning money and buying a truck, you know, or paying for your house or whatever, as opposed to, have you ever seen the depression rates or the average rates of happiness? This guy did this genius study. It's people that came quadriplegics halfway through their life and people that won the lottery, and it fucking goes like this.
Wow.
These people that became quadriplegics, he's like, dude, I was devastated. I had to learn how to do life like all over again. And I was instilled with this like fulfillment and gratitude of like, I'm still alive, as opposed to giving some whiskey tango fucking suburban couple like, here's $400 million. Like, let's see how it works out for you. Like, dead of opioids in 5 years.
Totally. Yeah, or you look at Solzhenitsyn when he came out of the gulag, he was grateful for his experience.
Yep. So in Claydex, this is 2018, they determined that the pathogen was made by a terrorist group called ABD, A Brighter Dawn. And their stated goal, again, was to get the population down to pre-industrialized levels. This is hypothetical.
The terrorist group.
The terrorist group, yeah. And they did it through something, and this exercise was called gain of function. I don't know if that rings a bell. And so one of the high-ups in this meeting with this girl, Tara Toole, she's from Boston. She's like in all these committees. She was like director of health for Johns Hopkins, I believe. They came to the conclusion after the hypothetical exercise that the only solution we have was to make a rush-to-market vaccine that surpasses all safety protocols and testing, because, you know, this thing is so...
No time for backup.
There's no time for backup. This thing is so deadly. So, okay, we talked about predictions. Now, predictions is not something like a black and white, a very succinct prediction you could hold someone to would be if at the beginning of the NFL year, I say, like, I predict the Bills will win the Super Bowl. And you would go like, why? Why do you think that? Now, they're always based on some kind of, you know, unless you're just a moron. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I like their colors.
Yeah, just their jerseys are sweet. You're like, all right, buddy. Good luck with that. But they're always based on, I'd say like, well, if you look at their draft round picks and, you know what I mean, and the build up from last year, I'm seeing a trajectory. There's a, you know, they're going, you know, in this direction or whatever, you know what I mean? And then there's other predictions that aren't like totally concrete. Like I predict this one thing, right? So this could be the Deagel statistics, which you brought up earlier. You're like, okay, like that's quite a wild prediction. Now, why would there be a reduction in the U.S. of 75% of the population? And you're like, I have no idea. I was like, I don't think anyone could actually predict that. I was like, but the reason why we keep talking about it, I was like, it's got to be based on something. Like, I don't, if they know like a war's coming, a pandemic, some kind of natural disaster, which, you know, some kind of directed energy weapon to make a tsunami. Like, it's like no one just whips out that and puts it on the internet and going like, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just gonna
just like their colors.
Yes, exactly. Now, the beauty about our predictions is that we like to wallow in the darkest shit in the entire world all the time, and we say, you know, for people that want to like dig up an old podcast and like, see, you guys were wrong 2 years ago. You're wrong about this thing. Is we have the luxury of going like, we were. You're welcome. Thank God I was wrong, because no one wants that to be true. Because we're never predicting sunny skies ahead. No. Yes, but then
safer that way.
You think about the Claydex, right, and the Event 201, all the similarities. Now we have this Superclade K, which is bubbling up in the news. If you just put in Superclade K into the search engine, like they're talking about like breakouts in the East Coast. It's all happening right now. And if you tell a certain amount of people this stuff, which I did, and certain people are like
Christmas dinner.
Yes,
needed things to talk about.
Certain people like, I know that you're interested in this. I know that Jake's interested in this because we talk about this stuff all the time. Because they go like, oh shit, like, and then you go more and more details, and you're like, fuck, dude, that's kind of terrifying and a little interesting. Is that they are making predictions in these hypothetical exercises. Now, some of them come almost totally true. So a couple things that popped into my mind when you get into predictions is these Event 201, the Clade X hypothetical exercise is like, okay, these people are either, it's one of two things at this point, is they are wildly good at predicting things or they're in on it.
Right.
If you can think of a third option,
right,
I'm all ears.
Yeah. Or, yeah. You could say luck, but you're not lucky over and over and over again. Right? There's something more to it.
Right. Now we talk about, I don't want to get too far into this, but they talk about making these predictions, these tabletop exercises, and they come true. Now we come out of COVID realizing what we were told, that hospitals are going to be backed up, everyone's going to die, this thing is so deadly. 4 years later, we're like, wasn't that bad. It affected the elderly and the immune compromised.
Yeah.
Yet our reaction to it was the terrifying thing, which is what we said during the entire time. I'm like, when everyone freaks out, all these people around me that I thought were free thinkers are now clutching their pearls and wearing a mask and gloves, and we're talking to you through their kitchen screen. They won't let you in their house. I'm like, that's scary. Like, that's not normal behavior. And you go like, it makes you think, like we've often said, COVID was the dry run. I was like, COVID was also kind of a tabletop exercise. If you compare what we were told about like how deadly this disease was, how we're all going to die, and what we know in hindsight, right?
Yeah.
They taking kids. Go ahead.
Your point, I think if I'm hearing you right, is that we were told that it was the killing millions of people, but in reality, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It probably didn't kill anyone by itself.
Yeah.
It was the complications of being overweight or diabetic or
or my favorite stat, it killed more people than the flu. I'm all, no one died of the flu that year. How interesting is that? So, but when you think about tabletop exercises,
bee stings killed more people than the flu that year.
When you think about the tabletop exercises and what we went through with COVID, I was just like, when you look at, I don't want to get over our skis with conspiracy theories, but the Boston Marathon bombing, right? A guy, a terrorist who was handsome, ended up on the cover of Time magazine, I believe, total perfect anti-hero and everything, set up these bombs and blew some people up at the Boston Marathon. Now, at the exact same time, Boston was running a drill to test their law enforcement agencies in case someone put a bomb at the Boston Marathon. London subway bombing, remember that one? Same thing. They were running a drill for that exact same scenario that actually happened. And it makes you think of the COVID thing. I was like, is this more of a long game?
You were going to say Sandy Hook.
We couldn't get into Sandy Hook.
They were running a drill.
Like, we finally got on YouTube. You want to ruin it? But yes, same thing. 9/11, they were running military drills in case someone hijacked an airplane and took it over. And you go like, what are the chances, right? And it made me think that, so you and I talk about this stuff, and we can talk for hours about it. We have certain friends that are interested in this stuff. You know who doesn't fall for this stuff? Who has no time for this? It's people that fall for AI cat videos and people that get scammed. Let me explain.
True.
Yes.
Very true.
So we've talked about...
They've turned off this podcast by now.
Yes. So we have talked about the psychology of spammers and spammies.
Yes.
Would it be? Is we get how many phone calls a day people trying to scam you.
Yeah, dozens.
Yeah, 2 or 3 bare minimum.
No, I get a bare minimum of 10 a day.
Yeah. They're like, oh, sir, what if I told you could never pay for PG&E again? All you need is your checking account number. Now, that sounds ridiculous. You and I pick up the phone and go like, click. Nope. It's a ridiculous sounding scam on purpose because they're trying to weed out people that don't have the critical thinking skeptic brain.
Yeah, right.
That's the psychology of the spammer.
For the extremely gullible.
For the person on like, well, sounds a little weird. Can you tell me more? And they're like, got him. Yeah. You know what I mean? And these are the people that fall for scams. Now, these are the same people that you have that, like a family member who sends you a AI video of a cat playing Tchaikovsky's Third Movement, cello and C, on the violin. Like, isn't this amazing? You look at it and go like, huh, all right, high alerts. Put that down. Maybe it's your Aunt Barbara. And then you see her at Christmas and she goes like, isn't it amazing that video of that cat? And you're like, oh, like
you actually thought that was real.
You're like, Aunt Barb. And then out loud, you have to go like, that was crazy. Save the fact that we don't have any video of a cat playing a note on the violin ever. Also lacking opposable thumbs, which would make it impossible to the basic fundamental mechanics of holding the. It's a great video, Barb. Thanks for sending that to me. Same brain, though. It's the same brain that if you explained they fall for the AI video is the same brain if you explain the similarities of Event 201 and Clade X. I'm like, okay, like, do you see kind of these connections here? And they just kind of look at you cross-eyed like, I don't know. Why are you even talking? Like, they don't make these connections. And we are surrounded by these people.
Yes, I know. Believe me, it's the holidays.
Yes. Break?
Yeah.
Oh my God, do I try all the time in this institution. And he prays. Oh my God, do I pray? I pray to single thing. For revolution. And I say, hey, yeah, 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 hey, yeah, yeah. I say, what's going on? And I say, don't, yeah. Just keep it inside. Learn how to hide your feelings. What's going on? Yeah.
Maybe you can let me know where you are on this one because I thought of the head box. This is tied up back to our first segment. I guess
Ever?
Oh no,
you mean today?
Earlier today. Okay. 5 minutes ago. Stick with it.
Gotcha.
Have you heard of Dr. John Campbell?
No.
Okay, I'm sure you have heard about this out in the ether, but he's a widely published author and doctor out of the UK, and he first landed on my radar on the Jimmy Dore show. And they, for you people that like to yell anti-vaxxer, they both took the shots and were vaccine injured. And so he started his work, which made Jimmy Dore kind of come to his conclusions. John Campbell, same thing, took the COVID shots, was vaccine injured, and goes like, all right, I'm going to start studying this. Now, his recent studies, and he based this out of a bunch of data coming out of Germany, I believe, is that he's the guy, and I'm sure you've heard this, that has compiled the data and figured out that, because what was the test they used? The PCR test, which you're not supposed to use for COVID.
Right.
According to who?
Oh, just some jerk off that invented it.
Gary Mullis, the guy that invented it. He's saying somewhere between 86 and 90% of those test results were false positives.
Right.
Now, this would explain quite a bit because we knew a lot of people you would call me when we were going to podcast. You're like, hey, I just tested positive for COVID. I was like, you sick? I'm like, no. I was like, I think I forgot. And I know there was another time that you forgot. Like, we were halfway through the podcast. You're like, I was supposed to tell you I had COVID. And I was
right. Well, those weren't PCR tests that we were taking, though.
Yeah.
Those were the antigen, the ones that you get at home and you do it up your nose.
Yeah.
Not a PCR test.
Okay.
And according to Jamie O'Brien, those tests only test for a coronavirus. So you would get a false positive because it wasn't necessarily COVID that you would be testing for. You're testing for a coronavirus.
The coronavirus. It was a coronavirus, which we probably all have all the time.
Right.
Much like the SM71
SV40.
SV40. Yeah. 40. Wait a minute. What's that number mean? Oh, I started reading that book.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Isn't it good?
Oh, digging it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm reading it again, too.
Yeah.
That's Dr. Mary's Monkey.
Yeah.
Dr. Mary Sherman.
We should cover that. I also want to go through The Great Taking, which you turned me on to.
Yes.
Over Christmas, I listened to him break down the documentary 4 or 5 times at this point, and I still have a bunch of questions.
Yeah.
But dude, it's nuts. Usually I
should get Jamie O'Brien to
that's what I thought.
Come on and talk about it.
Yeah. I'm like, this is the guy to talk to about this.
Totally.
Okay. So here's some headlines. FDA plans black box warning for COVID-19 vaccines. Dr. Vinay Prasad, Director of Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research under the FDA. Now, according to Prasad, in a memo to staffers, the COVID shots probably contributed to, that they know of, at least 10 deaths in children who died from heart inflammation, and is also investigating more COVID-19 vaccine deaths across multiple age groups. Now, we're getting into the drip of the limited hangout here, because these are things that, as I explain these things, like what were people and us saying 4 years ago that would have made you a wild conspiracy theorist, and you're just like, well, if you just wait a little while,
right.
I mean, this shit's going to start coming out, which is happening. And I brought these specific articles because this is not bringing up the latest episode of macroaggressions or Liberty Lockdown or whatever. This is people from the FDA where they start saying, because do you remember the 5 stages of the head box?
Yes.
We're not doing it. We're doing it just a little bit. We're doing it because it's for your own good. All right, we did it. The fuck you gonna do about it?
Right.
Why are you still talking about this?
Right.
Which is, we're watching this over and over and over. We just watch this play out, whether it's the invasion of Iraq or these fucking vaccine injuries. Like, it's the same model that happens over and over and over again. And if you think about the people that will send you AI cat videos, like, well, why do they do that? This is so obvious. They're doing this thing. I'm like, because it works. Like, my Aunt Barbara just sent me another AI cat video playing violin. Like, it's for her. You know what I mean?
Yep.
This is the same brain that will fall for the scam, will send you the AI cat video, and also, bring up, holiday dinner, show you the article from Rolling Stone. This was an article saying, like, the ER in Oklahoma, they're turning away gunshot victims because so many people OD'd on ivermectin. That one of the most benign, world-approved medications in global history. And you go like, Aunt Barb, it's not true. She goes, how do you know? What's your source? I'm like, I have an IQ over 65. We could start with that.
Dude, I can't get over that interaction that your wife had at the chicken store with the guy that was basically your Aunt Barb, who was just sitting there ready to tell her how ivermectin was poison.
Yeah, so to paint this pictures, we've had some kind of avian bird flu that happened with our chickens, and we lost 5 or 6 chickens to some kind of disease. And so my wife went to the farm supply place. And she goes, I was talking to these two people, this woman who knew everything about chickens, it seemed like, and this guy who didn't know anything at all. And she goes, I was irritated.
Did the guy work there?
Yeah, they both worked there. And the guy felt compelled to give his opinions on things, even though I could clearly tell. My wife knows a lot about chickens, and this woman knew even more. She goes, hey, so do you guys have any idea? We're trying to figure out, should we just let it run through the flock? If they survive, great. If they die, great. And then we start over with new chicks. You know what I mean? We don't want to introduce a bunch of new chicks if this thing's still going through the flock and we keep having the same problems next year or whatever. And she goes, well, what are you doing? She goes, well, there's a couple different things. And she's listing out the variables. It was like, well, they had like a respiratory thing. You could see it in the eyes, and then they die. A few of them got sick. We put them in the bathtub with a heater. They lived, and they had mites. So we did like a bath. You can dip your chickens to get rid of the mites. She goes, I don't know if it's related, but she's just saying like, here's everything that I know. You know what I mean? And she goes, I was also taking ivermectin and putting it where the mites were, seeing if that worked. And this guy, silent the entire time, like, oh, that's the problem. That's what's killing your chickens. And my wife's just looking at him going like, you idiot. Yeah. Like, why are you talking to me? Yeah. But he just had it in his head.
Yeah, the ivermectin is evil.
Yeah, I guarantee that guy enjoys himself a good AI cat video.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's funny, like, if you get enough of those people who fall for the scams on board, you kind of have created a critical mass of people that can move public opinion.
Yes.
You know, if they're out there expressing their opinion and they're all stupid, they're all super gullible, but they all kind of just in unison recite the same things that they hear over and over again, it makes it seem like there's a majority of people who believe something. When it's really just this like 10% of people that form this kind of critical like blob who all push public opinion.
Yeah. As they talk about like any kind of like significant, substantial cultural movement, it's the 10% of the true believers, and then there's like the 50 to 70%. You know, there's a 20% of like, no, this is not a good direction. I'm not going to on board. It's that people in the middle that go along to get along people. They're like, I don't know, these people are really upset, and I don't want to go against them. Like, I'll just do this thing, which is basically an illustration of COVID.
Totally.
Like right there. So in the UK, another article, The Telegraph, How COVID Vaccines Can Cause Heart Damage. This is a quote from the article. Immune systems triggered by mRNA jabs may inflame cardiac cells with young men most at risk. Currently studying more than 2,000 people in Britain who suffered inflammation of the heart, inflammation of the heart lining. This would be myocarditis and your pericarditis. Majority of these caused by the Pfizer and Moderna shots. This data is also being used by a Professor Joseph Wu, director of the Stanford Cardiovascular Institute. Now, we've been saying this stuff for 4 years, but this is why I brought the limited hangout. I'm like, okay, now what we've been saying in a very kind of slow, manufactured kind of fashion, the FDA, the CDC, the NIH, and the HHS are now saying that thing. So you go like, okay, am I still a fringe conspiracy theorist at this point? Which is the model of the head box. It's like, all you have to do is just wait for enough time to go by. Now, when you look up the, do you know what the this is great. Okay, so if you look at the conspiracy theories around COVID, and this made me think of turbo cancer, is you go, what's like the easiest one? Is in the very beginning, I remember saying like, people are like, well, it came from a wet market. I'm like, you sure didn't come from the lab right there that does this exact thing? Shut up, you racist. Yep. You know what I mean? And you're like, I don't know anything. It just seems like something that we might kind of look into. You know what I mean? Since they're doing gain of function research, which does novel coronaviruses, which is what we're talking about right now. And then you get into, what would we say? I don't think this mask thing, this is stupid. It doesn't do anything. I was like, oh, how do you know? I like just kind of a simple intuitiveness. Like I could see big gaps on the side of your mask. They said that a bandana around your face is okay. I'm like, if it's that dangerous, like, you know what I mean? I take more protection for myself when I sand drywall.
Right. I'm pretty sure the drywall particles are a little bigger than a virus.
6 feet social distancing. You're like, that's, and my reason back then, I was like, that's stupid. Like, why? How do you know? I'm like, because if it really was that effective, it would be strictly enforced. You couldn't go sit at your table at a restaurant and laugh and spew your particles into the air, but if I have to walk to the bathroom, I gotta put my mask back on. Well, that's stupid.
Does the virus die after 6 feet?
Yeah, it only exists at this elevation.
It only goes this far and then it dies. The same thing with those plastic screens. Like it can't go up,
and
over and back down.
Yeah, honey roasted peanuts on a plane will fucking eliminate that virus. So this is what when I was okay. This is from CNN. I looked at this. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration intends to put a black box warning on COVID-19 vaccines. According to two people familiar with the agency's plans, the latest move by President Donald Trump's health officials to undermine a vaccine that was a standout victory of his first term.
It's Trump.
The plan shocked outside experts who said there was no basis for this warning. Okay, I love doing this. This is my sports. It is taking an article from Fox, CNN, MSNBC, and it's like, read every word, read every paragraph, read the paragraph, and just sit there and think about it. Read it again. You're like, okay, like what's not making sense? So from that paragraph, a vaccine that was a standout victory of his first term. Standout victory, the vaccine. This would be Operation Warp Speed. Yeah. What did we end up as far as the efficacy of the COVID shot? All said and done.
I think it was 0.
I think at best estimates it was 7%.
Yeah.
It went from
100%.
You see those montages of the headlines like 193. Yeah, 72. Just went down 13. You just went like down. And I was thinking people that I was not hardcore against the COVID vaccine in the beginning. I was just like, unless I have a reason to do it, like I'm not going to take it. I was like, as we always said, it's like hair plugs from the 80s. Like, let the technology get a little better. Let's see how this plays out. You know what I mean? And then it only took like a month or two, and all these fucking dolts that were hammering you about taking the vaccine kept getting COVID again. And then you see how the propaganda changed. They said, like, Rachel Maddow, MSNBC, when you take the vaccine, the virus stops with you. Full stop. Joe Biden coming out and saying, like, you will not get COVID if you take this vaccine. You're like, all right, we'll see. 2 weeks later, it's like, okay, now instead of saying that, we need you to say this. Thank God I was vaccinated, because if not,
would have been way worse.
It would have been way worse, which I had someone tell me as they're wiping their nose under their mask while I'm not sick. I'm like, yeah, that's really interesting. That's a simple walk out the front door test, right? Now, when you say that box warning, and this is great, because if you look at that list of conspiracy theories that now through the hindsight and limited hangout have all become like, yeah, well, it probably came from the lab. Masks didn't work. Social distancing wasn't a thing. And you ever see those lists of the Alex Jones list with the arrows? Like, we're here now. Right. And he's talking about frogs turning gay and this and this and this. Yep. You look at the arrow, and the next one is, number one is all U.S. politicians are actually lizards and everything. Right. You're like, that's ridiculous. I'm hoping that arrow keeps going up. I'm getting a little nervous here right now. So from the article, because one of the things that, so if we think about that Pfizer, who's probably like one of the main players in the COVID vaccine, who made untold profits with the COVID vaccine, is one of their first moves is they made just all this money after unleashing the COVID vaccine on the public. And they took that money and they acquired Seed Technologies for $43 billion, which specializes in turbo cancers, or galloping the artist formerly known as galloping cancers.
Right.
And you're like, like that's kind of interesting. And now we're seeing a rise in
turbo cancers.
So what the arrow hasn't reached on that list of wild fringe conspiracy theories is that these companies made this vaccine that they know they were going to cause these things, and then they could do the old corporate double dip and go like, well, whatever's wrong with you now, we happen to have a medication for that too.
It's ready to go.
We haven't got there yet, although I think we have. And maybe that was intentional. Maybe it was just like, look, we're going to make so much money on this vaccine. Like, who cares? And they're like, oh shit, it caused all this other shit. You know, much like the people that made Ozempic are starting to panic right
we're
now.
going to get sued. Oh, wait, that's right. They can't sue us.
Shielded from liability, and we don't have to release the data for 75 years, which was another reason I'm like, I'm not fucking taking that shot. You out of your mind?
Yeah.
This is from the article. Because we're not there on the conspiracy yet, right? A box warning, which appears at the top of prescribing information for medicines, is the agency's most serious, designed to warn about risks such as life or death threatening or disabling reactions that should be weighed against the intervention's benefits. I guess they're referring to the 7% efficacy against the virus. They can also be used when a risk might be lowered by using a medicine in a targeted way, such as only in certain groups. Okay, let's stop there. I want to list off a few things. And so that was all like the list of like the conspiracies that never really came to true. And it made me think that, like, we know that masks don't protect from COVID. We know that now. Anyone that's arguing that it did is an idiot. Apparently, the affluent white women in my neighborhood never got that menu.
They haven't read the 175 studies that show that masks don't work.
Which made me think, Salem witch trials, they might have been onto something. Like, was it all bad?
I mean, McCarthyism did uncover a lot of communists in America.
So now enough time has passed, you know, now that we have declared a pandemic amnesty, you know, or now that, I don't want to make that joke, that's too deep, is if you think about that list, like, we're not there yet that, you know what I mean? They intentionally did this thing that's going to cause these other things and everything, you know what I mean? That they also have a medication for.
Right.
From the article. Because here's the soothsayers at CNN are once again trying to like soft pedal this terrible idea of putting warning labels. What they're saying is like, just because it has this warning label, it's like not a big deal. Like don't let that prevent you from making the decision from taking another booster. From the article, box warnings on opioids, for example, warn about risks of abuse, addiction, overdose, and death. The acne medication Accutane carried a warning about the risk of birth defects when used during pregnancy. ACAM 2000, a smallpox and Mpox, not monkeypox, that's racist.
Oh.
Has a warning about complications such as heart inflammation and encephalitis. And what they're saying, like,
it's not that like those things ever happened. You could still take the opioids.
Yeah, which is funny because they're like
an opioid epidemic in our country.
That's why I said, I'm like, you had to start that paragraph with the opioid.
The one we all know is a problem.
Killed 100,000 people a year. It's like, I wouldn't have kicked it off with this. They're saying like, no, all these drugs are safe. I mean, sure, like some bad stuff happens.
No, with Mpox or whatever, like no one knows anyone that's actually taken that. Like just leave the opioid one out and we'll all go, oh, okay, maybe that's fine. Maybe you're right. Maybe those warnings, you know, we are inundated with warnings. You can't go into a store in California without the Prop 65 warning that there's chemicals in this store known to the state of California to cause cancer.
Even if there are life-threatening adverse events, which the FDA and NIH are saying there are, like we have medications for that too. So what they're saying is, yeah, if you take these shots, this is the black box warning on the COVID shot, these bad things can happen, but we have a medication that's going to take care of that too. And I'm like, that's what I've been saying. That's the same thing as Pfizer acquiring Seagen for $43 billion. Like, we got to get in on this galloping cancer thing. That's going to happen.
Yeah, it's an absolute, it's like the ants that bite the wings off of aphids and then just milk them for all their worth. They use them like cattle. They put them on the trees. They suck the life out of the tree, and then the ants eat the nectar that the aphids produce. We are those aphids. They just pump you full of pharmaceuticals and then profit off of the side effects of their pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, watch the people that developed Ozempic are going to buy a company that takes care of thyroid cancer here pretty soon. You watch pro wrestling?
All the time.
Do you?
No.
Okay. Why not?
It doesn't appeal to me. The theatrical nature of it doesn't appeal to me. I don't like the aesthetic. It's a little too gay. It's a lot like figure skating or something. It's not not even figure skating. It's more like it's like theater.
What would Brian Botano do?
Right. I bet he'd kick an ass or two.
So the WWE currently generates around $1.4 billion a year. Now, so I'm thinking about people that watch AI cat videos and Segan being bought by Pfizer and the super flu coming up. And logically, of course, I start looking into the history of pro wrestling, which probably makes total sense. Now, I don't watch pro wrestling or anything. I don't watch pro wrestling for the same. If someone asks me, like, why not? Like, I don't know. It's not real. Like, I just, I don't know. Not interested. Like, it's totally scripted. You know what I mean? It's this kind of made up thing. Now,
which shows are too. I like watching shows, but it just is unappealing. Kind of, it's not fun for me to watch people being thrown around. In a theatrical kind of way. It's like watching. It's like what is unappealing about soccer when guys are rolling around on the ground in a theatrical way. About
which is why I stopped playing soccer. I was like,
an injury that didn't happen.
I can't watch this anymore. So what's interesting about pro wrestling is that people used to think it was real. It was like way back, like early 1900s. And they travel from town to town.
Right.
And there are accounts of riots and like giant brawls because people wanted to kill the bad guy. They thought he was real.
Dude.
And they'd show up and throw rotten fruit and try to fight him. And okay, go ahead.
My buddy, Jason Allgood, professional wrestler, who's my roommate in San Diego. He did an event in Ensenada. Which is not too far from where we lived in San Diego.
Yeah.
And the whole shtick was that his team was supposed to beat the Mexican team.
Yeah.
And he was like prepping for the fight, and he was asking me, he's like, I'm thinking I might take like a Mexican flag and like throw it on the ground and like stomp on it. And I was like, I don't think you should do that. That is not going to go over well there.
Yeah.
So he didn't do that, but after they won, he took the American flag and was waving it around in the stadium. And he said he barely escaped with his life.
Yeah.
Like he got so much beer thrown on him and people just wanted to kill him. It was like, it was pretty violent.
Now, glad you brought that up, is that somewhere along the line is pro wrestling became a thing, right?
You know what though? By the way, I will say this. I went to see his fights and it was very entertaining.
Yeah.
Something about like your buddy.
Oh, it's crazy entertaining.
Because it is like wildly athletic and dangerous. And
thank you.
You know, they do take a beating in that.
So this made me think of sports, which I know you like talking about, is you go pro wrestling at some point or somewhere in the timeline, not all on the same day, but people became aware like this is not real, right? Because as the characters became more outlandish and the production came more and more, kind of more garish, and everything became like too on the nose. The bad guy was so bad and the good guy was so good. There was a kind of collective like recognition in society of like, okay, professional wrestling is not real. And so what happened now? Did everyone stop watching pro wrestling?
No.
Or to become an industrial complex that generates $1.4 billion and it's its own like industry now. There's a team of writers. Like you can make a career writing scripts for professional wrestling. People like John Cena and The Rock are worth hundreds of millions of dollars being professional wrestlers. And then you think about that, people like to kind of look down their nose at pro wrestling, because if you look at like a WWE event, it's not a bunch of like 12-year-olds in the audience. It's like dudes in their 30s and 40s, packed stadium, right? And you can't go like, they're all idiots. Like, no, they're there to be entertained. And so you think about like sports, because you brought up recently that the notion of sports being rigged, it's like, well, that doesn't mean just, it's not a binary. It's not just one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, professional sports generates money that dwarfs the WWE. There's so much money involved. I was like, well, it's not like rigged, like a quarterback throws a game, like completely, right? Because he's in debt to a bookie. That recently we've had these scandals with like the NBA and stuff like that. It could be as simple as taking a MLB pitcher and go like, throw it first pitch, third inning, throw it in the dirt. And then all these people bet money, and the algorithms catch it. Like, why would all these people bet on that? You know what I mean? And so now, like, players are getting busted, coaches are getting busted, the bookies are getting busted. But it made me think that if you take pro wrestling and you take pro sports, and you go like, well, at the end, so like the argument for people that love to shoot their mouth off about like how stupid watching sports is, right? Like, it's just like a bunch of multimillionaires, you know, like, you're playing this imaginary game, blah, 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 blah. You know, we all know the chick that sits next to her boyfriend while everyone's trying to enjoy the game. You're like, can you shut up so we can watch the game, please?
Yep.
You're like, well, anything that generates that much money, you're going to have some semblance of it being rigged and corrupt or whatever. That's just the world that we live in. And you go like, but at the end of the day, it is entertainment. It is a TV show. You know what I mean? And you go like, okay, what's the argument for watching sports? So football, for example, you go like, well, yeah, sure, you could call it a meaningless game or whatever, but I'm watching the best people in the entire world do this thing and compete against each other. And you're like, that's what I get out of it. You know, I like watching Muay Thai fights. I was like, these are the best guys in the world, like competing and doing the thing. And you have the team sports, the money, the production and everything. And it's funny, you take pro wrestling and you take basketball, baseball, football, and you kind of put it like all on this kind of spectrum. I'm like, it's not this is fake and then this is real. I'm like, there's like this gradient, you know what I mean? Because those professional wrestlers, like those are, you know, whether you want to admit it or not, those are crazy fucking athletes.
Yeah.
Like they are very, very skilled, gifted, disciplined people. Like
Right,
and we're watching the best people in the world do that thing.
And in the WWF, they are the top of the top. Because if you watch other wrestling leagues or whatever you call them that are lower, like they're not as good.
Yeah,
they're fatter.
Yeah,
their moves aren't as exciting.
And the same thing, watching the Premier League and then watching the U.S. women's national team play. You're like, okay, and these are like two different sports almost.
Right.
So it's like a gradient, and this one's got some corruption and fuckery, and this one is total corruption and fuckery, but it's on board. They're like, yeah, it's all like a show to entertain you, right? And we talk about like Ted K with surrogate activities, and you and I have had this discussion a lot. You're like, well, all that stuff is a surrogate activity. It doesn't immediately apply to your survival as a human being. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's true. But if all I did was think about my immediate survival, I'd go insane and probably start sending bombs to post offices. It's like you gotta shut your brain off and just be entertained by, you know, just watch the thing and enjoy it and have a good time. And what pro wrestling figured out very early, and I think professional sports is, but just think of professional wrestling for a second. It hinges on a lot of the attraction is the attraction of the heel. The bad guy. The bad guy is so bad. I don't know who it is in wrestling these days.
Me neither.
I don't know. The Undertaker?
We were kids. It was The Undertaker.
Okay, The Undertaker. But you have the same thing in professional football. It's like a Michael Vick. You're like, oh, fucking guy in his illegal dog running operation. You're just like, oh my God, dude. Like, God dang it. You know what I mean? And people love to hate.
Right.
Right? And you think about people that don't watch any sports or pro wrestling, but they watch mainstream media all day. And what pro wrestling did is figure it out that there's a lot of money being made to have this fabricated like person you want to hate. And maybe even like we might be putting even more butts in seats with the bad guy than the good guy, like a Hulk Hogan, the All-American hero, or John Cena, for example. And they go like, people show up because they want to show up and throw fruit at this guy. They want to show up and scream at him. They want to show up and fight your buddy in Ensenada. You know what I mean? This is like, that's the attraction. Like people love to be outraged and angry. And it made me think, I'm like, that's kind of funny because the person that watches CNN all day, because as I'm looking at the concept of the heel, this fabricated like bad guy that you just keep watching because you hate this guy so much, which gives us
Donald Trump.
And I'm like, so you're the same brain that showed up and threw fruit and started a riot back in the early 1900s. Now you're just at a Tesla dealership screaming at the poor guy just trying to run a business because same brain, same thing as the AI, the AI cat video.
That's very true. Yeah. You almost got to admire the people that are watching professional wrestling though more because those people know kind of what they're doing.
Yes, exactly.
The people that think that they're making a difference by showing up at the Tesla dealership, they don't realize that they're actually participating in professional wrestling.
Yeah. And the professional wrestlers are like, yeah, it's all fake. We're just here to have some beers and have a good time. Right. I could relate more to that guy.